Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney.
And I'm MK.
How are you?
It has been a week.
Hasn't
For
it
sure. For sure. I honestly can't remember what the last thing we talked about was or when we even recorded a podcast.
It was last Saturday, like weekend 3 days ago.
Wow, it was.
I sat down and thought about it today.
That was a long time ago.
Like basically 7 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills have won 2 football games since then.
Sure enough, they have.
I went to one of said football games. That's what happened. I was like, I feel like things happened. Yeah, I went to a football game, the Bills game against the Steelers. And I brought Dan and I brought Brittany and her husband, and it was so much fun.
Oh, that's super fun.
It's great. We did a shot ski.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
No, a shot ski is a literal ski.
Like that you put on your foot?
Right.
Okay.
But with multiple shot glasses on it. And then you all stand in a line and you flip the ski over so that you're all doing a shot together.
But then do you not just spill it on everyone? Are you coordinated enough to do that? I'm not.
Oh, we were.
But I'm also like shorter than everyone, so like it would immediately just go into my face.
I didn't think about that. How did Dan and I do that? We're not the same height.
You're like close enough, yeah.
He's an entire half a foot taller than me.
Oh, good question.
I'm like barely 5'6", and he's 6 foot. Well,
yeah.
And Brittany might be slightly shorter than me.
Well, good for you. You guys are.
Yeah, I just realized. How did we do that? I know we did because there's video evidence.
I guess you like stand in a line from like tallest to shortest, so at least like you tilt the right way.
Right. It was interesting.
That sounds incredible.
It was. I think that was the same day that you were at brunch with our newly engaged friends.
Well, let me tell you that. So, last week, our good pal Montana texts me out of the blue, and she's like, "Gonna be in New York tonight," and I was like, "Great, I'll be at work. Tell me other times you'll be in New York." And she was like, "Sunday, Monday. That's it." I was like, "Great, Sunday, perfect." And I was, of course, running behind because Sunday's my one day off, and I'm late everywhere on Sundays.
Absolutely.
So I met them for brunch over at Tanner Smith's, her and one of our fave fans, Sarah, and they were just dolls. I love them both so much. We had the best time. I had so many teacup drinks.
I love it.
I think there was a gin drink. It was like a punch.
I could tell how drunk you were because of the number of times you texted me on Sunday telling me how much you loved me.
I do love you. I love you.
I know.
I know. A day.
I know. But it was like, you were like, "I'm drunk. I love you." It was like,
yes. Okay. Also correct. But so we did that, and they stayed at the Dream Hotel, which is super cute. But apparently, I didn't tell them this because I don't want to like ruin their trip. But it's very problematic, like animal cruelty type person who runs it.
Oh,
so I just waited because they were already there. It's not a lot they could do about it at that point.
Sorry. Hopefully you guys are not fine. You told them this before right now on the podcast, right?
No.
Oh, sorry, guys.
No, I didn't tell them. I didn't want to ruin anything. And we went back to their hotel, and because I was like, well, I need to see it at least. I'm never going to stay here because the people are bad, but I've heard it's really pretty. And they have like aquarium poles in the like lobby. Like it's very cute. And then the room was like cute. We hung out there for a bit. And then they were like falling asleep, and I was like, "Go take a nap. I'm going home. Okay, bye." Actually, I went and saw a movie. I went and saw Amsterdam. It was terrible, but
Oh, okay.
it's fine. But yeah, and then like a couple days passed, they got engaged, and it was so adorable. Congrats, guys!
I'm so excited. I love it.
And
And
I
they got engaged in a sunflowers field, and it was beautiful.
was beautiful, and Montana could have found a better person. I love Sarah, so
I'm so happy for them.
me
I love
too.
you, girls.
I love you too. So that was our sappy post for the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had such a lovely time, and we went to Tanner Smith's, and I can't wait to go back there for brunch now. It was so
Fantastic.
good and
Was it
relatively affordable. So
nice?
I don't know,
I love it.
but yeah. So that's where I'm at in my life.
I'm sure. I mean, the thing is, we're full disclosure, we're filming 3 episodes today, and it has been like 10 million years since we've talked. But like, I worked most of those 10 million years, so
And
I don't have a ton of stories.
I've been vaguely sick since like last Tuesday,
Okay.
so I haven't done a whole lot either, aside from brunch and working. I wake up, like I literally got to a point where I was like waking up to go to work and then going home and going to bed. And then like Friday I didn't go to my conference. I like because I felt so sick. And so I woke up and I like got food at like 7 p.m. So I was like, I have to eat something. Yeah. And then I went back to sleep. And then I did the same thing yesterday. Like, it's just been a rough go for me.
Last Monday, was Indigenous Peoples Day / Columbus Day / Canadian Thanksgiving Day, whichever day you're choosing to celebrate that day. But what it is I have no school day. That's the most important part.
I worked all day. I worked both jobs all day. So
yeah. I was at my school for 7.5 hours grading projects. So
you did have a lot to grade.
I'm still not caught up. So
goodness gracious.
I love it. I'm living my best life.
You truly are. And you know what'll help you live your best life?
Please bestow spirituality upon me.
So maybe because I've had a rough week, this is maybe not the most happiest of positivity.
Honestly,
just straight facts.
Today sucks, so I'm good.
It's straight facts. Be careful who you trust, because the devil was once an angel. And it like tracks with like our show. Fine.
It's fine. We're all good. We're great.
Yeah, and full disclaimer, I did tell MK before we started recording, everyone is moving in and out of my building this week, it seems, and making a lot of noise in and outside. And Sadie's chosen this time to eat her dinner. So we are, if there's noise, I'm sorry. I tried.
Yeah, it's been like raining on and off all day here. At one point it was hailing. And so like, I also have no idea what's going to happen.
Just hang in there and come along for the ride. It's going to be a good time. Because today, one of 3 today, we are talking Bates Motel, season 3, the penultimate episode, episode 9, just called Crazy.
And boy,
ain't it so? Ain't it so? Whew. So this show aired May 4th, 2000. Also, apparently I'm being very dramatic today, so just like
you are. I love
dig
it.
in. That's where I'm at. Air date May 4th, 2015. Rated 8.3 out of 10.
Fair.
Fine. Number 1 song, just tragedy. See You Again. Song always makes me cry. Number 1 movie, still Age of Ultron. Also makes me cry, but different ways. It's fine. It's fine. The number 1 book is Memory Man by David Balducci. I don't love him as much as everyone else in the entire world does.
I've never read any of his stuff.
I read like 2 of his books, I think, and I don't remember what they were. They didn't leave that much of an impact on me.
Fair enough.
I've never even heard of this one, but apparently it was good to other people in the world. On this day, we have an eclectic bit of information.
Good.
Stephen Curry was named the NBA MVP. Which is it's NBA, right? That's the one he's in.
Yeah. It's also
Great.
Stephen Curry. I think it's Steph Curry, right?
I don't know. Steph.
Yeah, it's Steph Curry. Yeah.
Steph Curry, or as I call him, Steven.
Yeah.
Became the MVP for the NBA this day.
Okay.
It's also May Day, which is an Irish May Day, which is always,
I thought May Day was May 1st.
No, not in Ireland. It's May 4th.
Oh, okay.
Which is always fun because I found out it was May Day this year of 2022 when I got to work at the Irish pub and everyone was like, "It's May Day," and I was like, "What does that mean?" So that's a good time to find that out.
Yeah.
And last but certainly not least, save the best for last.
Okay.
College, which is traditionally very, it's like a women's only college, decided today of all days to admit trans women into their school.
Okay.
So good on them.
Okay.
And then I got very excited for our guest star, so I did my notes out of order on accident. But the director back in action is Tucker Gates.
Yeah.
The writers are all the same.
Okay, good.
Now, our guest star had like a 5.5 second role in this episode.
Okay.
Her name is Annika Nani Rose.
Anika Nani Rose. Yep.
And
you're doing great with the pronunciation today.
Thank you. I meant to write down her character's name. I put a dash and everything, and I didn't write down her name. But she is the one who plays the DEA agent that Ramiro speaks with. So
okay.
Now, buckle up.
She's not the same one who's running things in the last episode, right? Or no, just kidding. I mean, we haven't watched that episode, but in episode 10, that's not the same person.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Now, what she's known for? We're not there yet. She's known for Dreamgirls.
Yeah.
And a newer horror film, Let the Right One In, which I haven't seen yet, but I really want to. And most importantly, spoilers, Princess Tiana from Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
Some fun facts about her. Yes.
That's why I know how to pronounce her name.
Yes. Okay. And our fun facts, she was the first Black Disney princess, which, of course, we all knew that.
Yes.
I don't even know who you are. She was made to wear 6-inch heels for Dreamgirls so she could stand up with Jennifer Hudson and Beyonce. And she, very fun fact, was meant to play Dorothy Gale in The Wiz until the film was shelved, which would have been very fun.
Oh, it would have been amazing.
Yes. She was in and won awards for Caroline or Change on Broadway, and which I still haven't seen, even though I think it was playing whenever I moved here.
Yeah.
And she shares a birthday with Idris Elba and Justina Machado. 2 big names.
That is pretty big.
All right. Yes.
Somehow I just didn't recognize her. I know who she is.
I didn't either.
That just didn't click in my head at all.
And I was reading her name and I was like, okay, blah, 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 blah. And then I started reading about it and I was like, Princess Tiana.
Oh, no. I know the name. I'm saying when I saw her in the TV show, it didn't click. When you said that, I was like, are you sure? Because I'm
bad with names except for the people that no one else knows.
Perfect.
Those are the names I know of people.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's fine. Are you ready?
I am
for this magical journey we're about to take.
Never truly going to be ready.
That's fine. It's fine. So, thank goodness we start directly where we left off. We are standing in the middle of a road with Norman and Bradley, who threw us all for a loop. Except me, because I had accidentally spoiled it. But Bradley has decided she's ready to come home. She doesn't want to be on the run anymore. She doesn't have any money. She said it's been a rough go.
Okay. I watched that and I said, she came back because her life was hell, but like, I don't know what she expected. She faked her suicide and ran away. Like, did she expect to have a great time?
Right. Look, we already know this girl is not one who thinks things through.
No.
Every choice she's made has been the wrong one.
Every choice.
So
yeah.
I can't say I'm surprised. Like, this at least is like self-preservation over like just the choices in general, you know?
Right. Stupid.
But then we pop over to Norma, and she goes to visit Bob Paris. And she tells him, yes.
Oh, sorry. I don't remember what Bradley said that pissed me off because my note just said, I don't think that's how being dead works.
Maybe she was talking about like coming back. And he was like, you heard when you committed suicide. And she's just like, yeah, I'm just going to come back though. Like,
right. Probably.
Like, no, Bradley, that's not how any of this works.
Now, my note about Norma going to see Bob.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Why does Bob live in Roman Godfrey's house?
Oh my gosh, for real though.
That's all I could see. I was like, what is it with rich, morally ambiguous characters and glass houses? Like, I don't get it.
Because glass houses hide no secrets or something. What is the quote? Do you know what I'm talking about?
People who live in glass houses don't throw stones.
No, but there's something else too, right?
Oh, I don't know. I was just like, rich.
But it is. You're correct.
Yeah.
You're correct. So she goes to visit our pal Bob. And she's just like in a panic. She's like, I will do anything. She's like, I'm done fighting. I'll give you the flash drive. Let's just drop this. Like, yeah. I don't want to do this anymore. And he's just like, yeah, that's not really how it works. You don't make the calls anymore. He's like, it's still a good idea to give me back the flash drive, but aside from that, this isn't really going anywhere. And he tells her that she's worse than him because of all of the crimes and whatnot she's committed, and to not slip and to fall into the pool. I was like, well, what a way.
And he also says, like, you could give me back the flash drive, but I think Alex is going to beat you to it because I told him who you really are, and I'm going to pull him away from you, and then you'll have no one left. And I was like, Bob, unfortunately, I don't actually know if you can pull Alex away from her.
He's in too deep.
He's in way too deep. He's done lost his mind.
Absolutely. Bless. They all have no one has. Actually, Bob Paris probably has the most together out of all of them. Like, he's not great. He's not like a good person.
He's not a good person, but like at least he's not delusional.
No, like he absolutely knows what he's doing and like knows the choices he's making. So then we have the credits. And this setup was a bit different because the credits have been longer lately before and like going into a little bit slower, and they kind of like just come out of nowhere, felt like.
Yeah.
And this one was like, oh no, we're back to the original format of like, here's a couple things you need to know, and here's the credits. And after the credits, we get into a little like bounce around a bit just to kind of catch up with everyone from episode 8.
Yeah.
So Caleb shows up and yells at Chick because, they almost died, him and Dylan. In case you don't recall.
And I was like, listen, Caleb has every right to be super angry, but like somebody's going to die. Somebody's going to die.
I thought that was the end of Chick. I thought it was over and there was nothing else that was going to go.
To be fair, I don't know if it wasn't.
That's true. I mean, he said he didn't kill him.
He said he didn't kill him, but I also don't know if I believe that.
I believe it enough. I think Chick has to live so he can stir stuff up.
That's fair. And I do think that I was more right about Caleb than you want to believe, and that he really is just trying to get his life together, and so that he wouldn't lie to Dylan about that.
Right. I think we're just gonna ignore that fact because this is my episode. And I only like things that I decide are correct.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Fantastic.
I live in my own delusional world. Me and Norma, my pal. So Chick also is like, he's telling me, he's like, we almost died. He's like, did Dylan die? And he's like, no. He's like, well, thank God Dylan didn't die. And I was like, what? Like, you were so like laissez-faire about this. Like, what is happening? And but then out of nowhere, he's like, so where are my guns and money? And he's like, dude, did you just listen to the story that I told you? Like, obviously, I don't have any of those things. It was either get those things and die or not get those things and stay alive. And
he was like, well, how do I know you didn't just like sell it to somebody else and pocket the money? You don't, except for that. Either way, fuck off.
Right. And also, like, Caleb's coming on real hard. Like, so, and that said, him and Chick get into a real intense fight, and Caleb super wins and then threatens his life. He never does anything to Dylan. And I was like, you're not wrong.
Right.
Not wrong.
No, not at all.
And then we go to the motel, and I had forgotten that Dylan didn't know what was going on with this pit sink.
Right.
So he's like standing over it. Emma walks up. And he's like, what is this? And she's like, it's a pool. And he's like, are you sure? Like,
he said this does not look like a pool.
No, he was like,
and I was like,
a bomb crater.
I said, you're right. It does not look like a pool. That is the correct answer.
Yeah. And then sweetest Emma of all the sweet Emmas, she says, he tells her that his run went bad. And she's like, so what was the money for? She's like, is there anything I can do to help? And I was like, it's for you, Emma.
But I also was like, thank you for like not lying to her, because everybody just lies all the time in the show. And she was like, how was everything? And he goes, I'm going to be real. It was not a good trip.
He never lies to her. Like,
and I was like,
told her every time
he has like kept things from her.
Yeah.
But he doesn't lie to her. And I was like, thank you for being the only fucking person who isn't just lying straight to her face.
Right. And he also acknowledges, he's like, I'm not going to tell you this. Yeah. He's like, this is as much as I'm going to tell you. And there's more that you don't know, but I'm also not telling you.
Yeah.
Then we go to Norman and Bradley for a brief second. And I put, this is such a dark, tiny scene, because, I mean, I was watching it on my phone because I was in between things at work. It was lunch. And so I was watching it, and it's like this much of it was like Bradley and Norman in the woods and this little piece of light. And I was like, that is the darkest scene.
It was so dark that I didn't even realize it happened. I genuinely was like, that's my next note is definitely not about that.
Yeah. Well, it did very briefly. And this is when he told her she could stay at the motel.
Oh, okay, cool.
And, yeah, it was very quick. And then we go back to Norma, and she just burst into the sheriff's office, and she's yelling at Romero about getting the flash drive back. And he's like, excuse me, calm down.
She's like, you haven't answered my calls. And he's like, because I don't want to talk to you.
Right. They are such teenagers sometimes, like the way they speak to each other. It's so funny to me.
I literally wrote, do not have a domestic in the middle of the police station and ruin this man's life any more than you already have.
No, for real. That would be like the worst of it. So he tells her he's taking care of it, and she's just like, what does that even mean? What does that even mean? And he's just like, calm down. Everyone's going to jail. It's fine. And she's like, that's not great. And so she's like losing it, and he just looks at her and he says, live and learn, Norma. Be careful who you give things to. And I was like, okay, fair advice. Although,
hell yeah, Alex, you tell her.
But fine. And then we go back to Norman and Bradley again. And
again, I have no notes about them.
Well, that's because they are very small scenes.
And also, I just don't care.
Truly though. So Bradley wants to tell her mom she's alive. She's just like, yeah, I want to do this now. And Norman's like, are you sure? Does that seem like a good idea? And she's like, no, yeah, this is it. I'm not gonna just like walk up. She was like, maybe I'll write a note. And then she's like, oh, you could tell her, you're trustworthy. I was like, yeah, let's have Norman tell your mother that the dead girl is alive.
Right.
That's a good plan. Good plan, Bradley. And then we go to Dylan and Caleb. And Dylan thought Caleb had killed Shake also.
Yeah.
Caleb's like, I have to leave. Things are gonna get ugly. Gotta go. I'll be just down the way. And
I wrote Caleb could have killed him, so like I'm glad he didn't.
yeah. But then I was like, I don't know if I trust that Caleb's gonna actually stay just down the way, or if he's like out of Dodge now.
Oh, I was like, he's for sure running.
Yeah.
Sure running.
And then we just have this shot of poor Dylan watching him. I was like, he just gets the short end of the stick always. No happy endings for Dylan.
Yeah.
Then we have Norman. And he gets home to Norma just throwing out all of his taxidermy. She is just like over it. And she's like, I'm pretty sure at this point with the flash drive gone, Sam's case is getting reopened. You're going to look suspicious. Don't need to add anything to the evidence of what they already have against you. And then he like pulls a sharp object on her. I couldn't really tell what it was, but I was like, he's
but also right here. He also like, I was like, oh, Norman, we're getting a little feisty, because he like pulls a sharp object, but also he's like, you know who probably has something to worry about? Not me. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no memory of this. You're the one who keeps saying I did it, and you're the one who keeps hiding things, and you're the one who keeps lying. So like maybe you're the one with the problem.
Right. He's like, you definitely look way more suspicious than me.
Because even if I did it, you hid everything.
Yeah. And like, poor Norma is keeping it together much better than I thought she would, first of all.
Except that her reaction was so unsettling, because there was this air of like not being able to deny what he was saying. Like there was just this moment where I felt like she was like admitting that she's the one who killed him. Like it was unsettling.
Yeah. I mean, it was unsettling, but like anything that she did at that moment, I would have been like, yeah, that fits. It's like,
right. No, for sure.
Yeah.
But
and I think like, I mean, I know in her mind she wants to believe she did it, even though she knows Norman did it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that type of scene could be her like trying to convince herself to.
Right. And, that's fair.
Then we go back to our fave, Bradley. And she's watching her house, and it turns out her mom has already gotten a new man.
Okay. But my question on that was, how long has Bradley's dad been dead? Because her dad died in like what, the first episode of season 1, maybe the second episode of season 1.
Yeah, but they were like 17 and I think Norman's 18 now. I think it's only been like a year.
I feel like it's probably been closer to 2. I'm not saying she didn't move fast, but I'm just saying that like Bradley's reacting as if her dad died yesterday.
No, her dad didn't die yesterday, but like if you think about like where we started, I think they started junior year, because by the time they finished that was his first year, was everything crazy, and he's still in the second year that he started at home.
Yeah.
So it's been like max a year and a half since he died.
Yeah, but I also don't know what time of year it is. Like, what season are we in? I have no idea.
That's why I say it's probably a year and a half max, because I think like, you know, I don't know. But like, I think, I mean, this girl is coming back to her entire life being turned upside down, and there's a new guy there the last time.
Okay, but there definitely was a big time jump between seasons 2 and 3 because of the whole weed shutdown.
Yeah, but I think that was like the summer after junior year, right? Because it was the third season that they started their senior year at home.
Yeah.
I think we had the first year, and then the second, I mean, the second half, or the summer of that first year that we had Norman.
Okay. No, yeah, that's the thing. I genuinely
oh my God,
no concept of the time.
It doesn't like flow the same all the time.
No.
There's no like consistency in
like
time,
there'll be like 3 episodes that all take place in one night, and then the next episode will be like 2 months from then. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to know what's going on. Right,
yeah. Correct. And then when they see this, Norman's like, how about we come back? They're leaving for work. No problem. And Bradley's like, nope, we're going inside. I need to see everything that's happened. And her mom, not the greatest, it seems. The one photo she has up of Bradley is the one that she knew Bradley hated, which is kind of rude.
Yeah.
And then she goes to see her room, which is completely transformed into an exercise room. There is like no like concept that Bradley ever lived there aside from that one photo. And I was like, okay, I don't like this girl, but I do feel bad for her. Like, she clearly didn't grow up in like a great family.
Yeah.
Let me go to Romero and our detective, Annika, Princess Tiana. Could you imagine if this was Princess Tiana like grilling him? How funny would that be?
It would not be funny because my note says, Liz, I don't like you very much.
No, I know. That's why it'd be so weird. So she's like decided Romero's in on it. She's like, no, there's no way you don't know. Everything's suspicious. Everything's your fault now.
Right.
And I was like, okay. I was like, take it back a step. I see where you're coming from, but you're coming in fast. Like, I would maybe like ease into it a bit if you're going to try that approach. Yeah. But also, this is going to be a wild case. She's like, great. We're ready for the next 24 hours. I was like, okay. We are just going in straight.
Yeah.
And then we go to Emma's dad, who is the most Welsh man, non-English Welsh man.
Yep.
It was a very choice. I'm sure they were just like, you're both from the UK, no problem, when they switched characters, but it's fine.
It's not fine.
I know.
It's not fine at all.
I mean, I love him, don't get me wrong, but it was like they tried to hide it and it was not well done. Not well done. So Dylan goes to see him, his future father-in-law, because him and him are going to end up together. And turns out that Caleb gave all 50,000. First of all, it's supposed to be 25,000 they were getting, but he was just like, no, pain and suffering. Now you're giving me 50,000. I was like, fair. But he gave the entire amount to Dylan. And I was like, well, that is very sweet. And I was like, that's 1 point for Caleb.
Yeah, but then Dylan gives the entire amount.
Okay, well, Dylan's, 22? Let me give him a break. And so then he gives the entire amount, like you said, to Emma's dad. And he's like, is this enough? And he's like, I definitely told you I needed 20,000 and you just handed me 50,000. But sure. He's like, I'll give you back the remainder. No problem. I'll pay you back every penny. He's like, no. You don't do that. I'm like, first of all, you just told him he didn't have to give you back $30,000 that he's not going to use. Like, you need the money, Dylan. I know you think you don't, but you do.
But also,
it's chaos.
I'm all about the saving Emma part of this, for sure. Mm-hmm. But like, dear Mr. Ducote. Ambiguously British, not quite accurate, William Ducote. Where do you think a 22-year-old man got $50,000 in pre-wrapped cash? And why, knowing the town you live in, do you think that's a safe thing to choose? I will take your probably drug-stained money.
So here's the thing. I think he knows all of that. And I think he's like, look, we're going to save him his life and then we'll deal with the fallout later. He's like, not worried about that today. Which, like, to be fair, I would also probably do the same thing if it was like life or death situation. Like, if you had to have a lung transplant and I didn't have any money because you don't need one, but I also don't have money, then if someone offered to give me 20,000 and I'd be like, I don't need to know where it's from. I will figure out a way to pay it back later. But I would take it if it was like life or death in the moment.
I know. It's just, I want to believe that I wouldn't. Like, I want to believe that I would know that, like, God will provide if I choose the right thing. Like that, I want to, but I also.
But God also helps you provide for yourself.
But with drug money, I don't think God
Maybe.
provides drug money.
He might. There's no way to know.
There is no way to know.
I think he could. I think he could provide drug money. He can do whatever he wants. He's God.
Get that frog out of your pants. Hey, he can do what he wants.
What?
It's an over the garden wall quote.
Oh,
I put it
Christ.
in there for Montana.
Ugh. Ugh. Ugh.
And I finally finished watching all of it.
I can't deal with any of you. Any of you.
And then I sat there on Etsy for like 25 minutes just looking at like sweaters that had quotes from the show. And I was like, look at this one. Oh, look at this one.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
I would have broken up with you right then if I was Dan.
He enjoyed it.
Well, I would have also broken up with him then. So now we know.
Now I know the real reason you can't be in my relationship.
Right. Over the garden wall. Over the garden hedge. What's it called?
Over the garden wall.
Over the garden wall. I got it right the first time. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why. Yeah. So then he's like, I'm gonna go talk to Emma. And Mr. Dakota's like, cool, no problem. So he goes upstairs and he like wakes her up because she's napping. He's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then he's like, I just really want to talk to you because I'm sad because my dad left. And well, he's like, because Caleb left. She's like, well, that's because he's your dad. And he just looks at her. She's like, yeah. No, I've known for ages.
Okay. That moment was like the perfect moment, like way for her to tell him that she's always known, but like never said anything. And it was so sweet. And I died a little bit.
And she just always knows the right thing to say, especially to Dylan, like to make it feel better. Ugh, it's so precious. Alas, we have to go back to Bradley and Norman.
Not precious.
And I just put, she's so lost. She has no idea what's going on.
Okay.
And he tells her, they're like talking about like leaving or whatever. She's like, I want to go, come with me, blah, blah. And he's like, Norma thinks something's wrong with her. Well, wrong with me. And she's like, oh, well, is there? And he's like, oh, yeah, for sure. I'm like, oh, okay.
I wrote, honestly, though, what just happened?
Like, he's just so, like, flat out with Bradley.
Like, Bradley was like, is there something wrong with you? He's like, yeah. And just casually walks away like he didn't just admit he's a psycho.
Right? I'm sorry, Sadie just dumped her water and is looking at me now. I don't know what she's doing.
Well,
so, that's how it
sucks to suck.
Yeah. So after our brief interlude with Norman and Bradley, we go back to Norma, who I put, oh, she broke into someone's house. And then and then it was like, oh, I guess Romero's looking for the flash. I was like, oh, I guess it's Romero's because she's looking for the flash drive. And then he shows up and I was like, yep, that's where she was.
No, I recognized it because of course I do because it's Alex. But I go, you broke into Alex's house?
Look, she's got like, what has she got left to lose? Her mind's gone. He could arrest her any second for any of the thousands of things she's done.
Yeah.
Like, that's the least of her infractions, probably.
God.
And also, like, the, like, most expected one.
Yeah.
And, I put they'll be enemies soon enough. Because all they do is fight now.
They were screaming at each other. And I just go, oh, Alex, I love you so much.
I did die whenever he walked in. He's got the gun pointer. He's like, what are you doing? And she's like, yeah, like you're gonna shoot me. That'll be the day. I was like, okay. I do know that that's true. And then he's just like, I hate you. And she's like, I hate you too. I was like, okay, we're fine again.
Yeah.
That's
okay. But then when she's like freaking out about Sam and everything, and then he's just like, why the fuck did you lie to me? And they're like screaming at each other. And then she just goes, you already know, don't make me say it. And I was like,
it broke my heart. Because, like, I do feel for Norma. Like, a lot of it is her fault, too. But I still feel bad for her.
I know. And you know, I figured it out in this moment right now. I figured it out.
Oh, please enlighten me.
I figured out my feelings for Alex
Well,
because they're love. They're deep, deep,
mhm.
deep love. But it's because Alex is very similar to me in a very bad way.
I
And
see.
that is that he thinks he can fix broken people.
Yes.
And I don't think he is unaware that Norma's crazy. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
I think that he just thinks that he can save her the way he couldn't save his mom.
Yes, I think that is very true.
And I was about to start judging him until I like replayed conversations with my ex and I go, "Oh, Alex and I are the same person."
Yeah. And like they just like even though they fight a lot, they end up getting over it because they both know that they're just hurting. Like they're not trying to hurt each other.
Yeah.
And it's just
It's still unhealthy and he should absolutely run. Like,
absolutely.
but I
Absolutely.
get it. I get it now
Yeah.
in a way I didn't before that argument.
Yeah. I understood it based on his mom and like he hasn't had anyone in his
No,
life.
and I guess
So
like logically I got it, but like listening to that
that
argument,
connected it more.
I was like, oh, I get it. Like I get it in a soul way.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, that was the longest non-kiss scene I've ever seen in my life.
I was so stressed out watching that.
So because I didn't write it down in my trivia facts, I'll tell you now.
Yeah.
Um, Alex or Nestor Carbonell said that he
Yeah.
wanted that to be a kiss scene because he was like, this would be the perfect time. We've been fighting. And Vera Farmiga said no, because it would be more impactful if there was no kiss and it was just like this incredibly long, insane, drawn out thing.
Well, because I was like,
It
oh, they're
was.
fine. I was like, oh, they're finally after that fight. That's going to be the moment. It made
Right.
sense. And it wasn't, but it was so long that it wasn't that I literally went back and watched it again because I was watching it in my car on my tablet, sitting in the parking lot of the school because I was waiting to go watch the football game with Dan and I didn't want to go into my classroom because I was just doing some work while I was waiting for him to get home to watch the football game. But I wanted to use the school's Wi-Fi. So I just sat in my car in the parking lot of the school. So I'm watching it on my tablet in the car and I was like, was the glare wrong? Did I just like not see it correctly? So I went back and watched it. I go, no, it wasn't the glare. They just literally
I rewound it twice. Because I was like, no, surely I just missed it. Like, this is my fault.
Not like no one. I was like, they didn't just breathe on each other for 15 seconds long.
But alas, that is exactly what they did,
and it was sexual.
It was. Then we go back to the motel, and Norma is just filling up her pool pit hole angrily. And I was like, okay, Norma, you're gonna try and fill it up by yourself.
I said, ma'am, are you out of your ever-loving mind?
Correct. Yes, she is. And then Caleb drops by, and I was like, oh, here we go.
I wrote, Caleb, I thought you were leaving.
So I will say, before he falls off the face of the earth, when he shouldn't have told Dylan he wasn't, he says, I have to tell you about Norman. And I was like, what does he got to tell her about Norman? And she's like, you haven't even been here. And I was like, exactly. Yeah. Good on you, Norman. And then
when he said that, I said, oh, fuck, I almost forgot that happened.
I did forget that happened. And then he was like, so when I first got here and I was in my hotel and I went, oh my gosh, that was like my reaction. Yeah. He was like, and he said, you know, there's something wrong with him because he thought he was you.
Yeah.
And I was like,
no. And then he said, Norma, he's going to hurt someone and I'm afraid it's going to be you. And he was like, so
it isn't you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I also hope it's not Norma.
I just said, holy shit, Caleb, way to be a good guy after all.
We'll see. But then he just ditches Dylan without telling him.
I know, but like his heart's in the right place.
But you should have told Dylan you weren't coming back.
But maybe it would just be too hard because he does love Dylan.
Yeah, but it's harder if Dylan's waiting constantly and he never comes back. At least he'll have closure. Yeah, no. Wrong decision.
Yeah, but I get it.
Right decision telling her about Norman. Wrong decision not telling Dylan.
Okay, fine.
That's just how it is.
You're not wrong. I just also think that I'm still rooting for Caleb. I still believe Caleb's a good person.
I know. And
I'll
concede my point the last minute of the last episode if he doesn't do anything else terrible.
Okay.
Unless he dies, then I'll make a decision then. Who knows?
Oh, okay, fantastic.
You know.
Right.
So then we go back to Norman and Bradley. And she's like, "Okay, I'm leaving tomorrow. Come with me." And he's just like, "I can't do that because my mom, blah, 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 blah." And then he learns that she's on some type of medication, which we never learned about. She's just like, "Yeah, it helps me sleep." And I was like, that could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as she does, she starts telling him, she's like, "You remember when you told me you loved me and I didn't say it back? I think I was wrong." And she's like, "Not that you don't love me, like, not that you love me still, but," and I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" And my next note, you know what, I'm not going to say my next note because it gives some things away. I'll tell you later.
I just wrote, "Bradley, you poor broken thing." Like, I don't even.
Yeah. Well, my next note says, "What do you bet she's using him because of human interaction? Like, this is what she always does to him. When she gets lonely, she reaches out to Norman and makes him think she loves him."
Yeah.
It's
No,
always
she does. But again, what this show does so well is it every single character that is making bad decisions, that is being a bad guy, they give you so much of their psychology and their persona that you understand the excuse. Like, you don't necessarily forgive it. You don't necessarily
right.
it. But like, her dad was the only person who ever loved her.
Mm-hmm.
And he died. And then after her dad died, she found out that her dad had been cheating on her mom the whole time. And then when she faked her suicide, her mom immediately just pretended she never existed and moved on and married somebody new and got rid of her bedroom. Like, her boyfriend was only dating her because she was the most popular girl in school. Norman's the only person who ever just looked at her and loved her. And then she tried to leave Norman for his brother, and he still fought for her. And she was like, the only person in her life who's ever fought for her is Norman.
Absolutely. And I think that makes it the right decision to fall for Norman. I think
that's just not what she's doing.
Right. Yeah. I think she's using him because of all of those reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It's like, it's every girl who's like, finds that guy that they're like, you should be the one I love, but I don't. So I'm just going to pretend I do until I have feelings for you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But that's not how that works.
Right. Correct. And then the next thing, of course, fake Norma shows up. Who else? And that's all it takes for Norman to be like, "Yep, I'm out. This is enough for me." And one of the things that this episode like starts doing really well is it's kind of hard for us to tell fake Norma from real Norma now. Like, I mean, obviously she came up out of nowhere, but she's using some of the mannerisms of real Norma. And
well, that's what I said. I wrote, he's making his hallucinations seem more like normal Norma. Like, mm-hmm. Yes, she's wearing the blue dress, and yes, she's in a place that she couldn't possibly be, so you know right. It's not her. But even he is not idolizing her anymore. He's like seeing her yell at him and talk to him the way that she actually does.
Mm-hmm. And then I put that I'm glad that we panned out to see whenever he walks outside, he's like, "I'm done. This is over." He walks outside and he's still talking to her because she's standing by the pole. And I was like, I'm glad we panned out on this scene because I even questioned at this moment if this was real Norma that was waiting outside or if it was fake Norma.
The only reason I didn't was the dress.
Which is fair. But I was like, that would be something they would do is they'd put her in that dress to confuse us.
She's been dressing so different.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so she has me questioning reality now, which is fine. But all in all, especially with this last scene, it was like excellent camera work.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was
then
really
when it panned up to him walking up the stairs to the house with his arm out, but no one was on it, I was like, oh,
that's gross. Creepy. That's fine.
Gross.
Yeah. That's the end of the episode.
Yay.
Who do you want to punch in the face?
Bradley. Like, not exclusively, but definitely.
I mean, when is it ever exclusively who you want to punch in the face on this show?
Fair.
I picked Norman.
Fair.
It's been a bit much.
Yeah.
Who's your MVP?
That one was harder. Because there's a couple good choices. But I'm going to pick the one that I know you won't. And that is that I'm still Team Caleb.
I know you would. Well, to no one's surprise.
You picked Emma.
I didn't.
Nope.
Maybe you're surprised, but I bet our listeners will be surprised. I picked Dylan.
I was going to say, yeah, if you didn't pick Emma, you picked Dylan.
You know.
Yeah.
I have a couple of fun facts for you.
Okay. Share.
Bradley's car, her license plate is NFB 418, which is the same as Marion Crane's.
Nice. I like that.
Yes. Vera Farmiga is an experienced boxer, but she thought that Norma wouldn't be. So that's why whenever she's slapping Alex Romero, she's like hitting him open-handed and not doing like real hits because she doesn't think
why would Norma wouldn't know how to box?
And it turns out she was actually hitting him the whole time because I guess it was easier to film that way. I don't know, but they both talked about it. Her and Esther Carbonell talked about it. Like
fantastic.
So I found that pretty funny.
I love that.
Yeah. That's the end of Bates today. We are still finishing up. This comes out Thursday the 20th. We are still going hard with our 31 days of Halloween. I did miss a few days because I was sickly and dying, but
you also have like a day left to finish watching Hemlock Grove before it's gone.
No, you have a negative 1 days left.
It leaves on the 22nd. If this episode comes out on the 20th.
It left on the 19th.
No, it leaves on the 22nd. The 22nd.
Got it. Well, yes. 1 day. So start going if you haven't.
Yeah. You can listen to the podcast later. Just watch it all first.
Right. It'll still be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're going. We're going.
Also, if you listen to the podcast on Spotify or like Apple and not on YouTube, just warning you that last week's or Sunday's Stargate episode uploaded in a weird order, and it says that it was uploaded like a week before it actually was, so it's not in the correct place in the feed, so it also might not be showing up as a new episode, but it was there.
That happened to me. So read the title, not
don't
Spotify.
Just follow the order. Yeah.
So I believe that is all for us today. You can talk to us on the interwebs if you'd like by emailing us at deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can find us on all the social media at Death and Aliens. You can follow me at CECloud13.
And you can follow me at EMKAY_superstar. Bye.